Do you want me to post an announcement?
If you'd like, yeah.
Okay.
And then let me check the YouTube page to make sure we're actually live streaming. We are live. Hurrah! Huzzah! Huzzah! Huzzah!
Nice.
So welcome everyone to the Engineer.tf post-game show. Today we have Yip Yapper, otherwise known as Aaron, otherwise known as Yip Yapper, and Exa, both who played in today's match with MCM and the Krusty Krab Esports. So kind of starting off with things. So that was actually a pretty exciting and fast match to watch from our perspective. There was a lot going on at all times. Was there any comments from you guys as far as tonight went with each other or anything?
Comments are like just like general comments?
Yeah, just general comments.
Not really, no.
Not really. How about you, Exa?
Honestly, that match was really, really close. Like, even though the scoreline may not depict that, like, all the rounds were really, like, it came down to, like, almost, like, last battle.
I feel like you guys had the potential to make it like a 4-3 or something, but I feel like things just kept going wrong for MCM, you know? I mean, I think JJ was the MVP of that match. Like, he went totally ham on you guys. Like, I feel like every time you guys were getting ready to do something, or like just at the end of a fight, JJ would just come in and get like a couple kills, like secure the bag, and then Rogue would just die. And I feel like that was the biggest problem. Bull just never died, and Rogue just couldn't get Uber.
Really I think part of that is, I guess, because we had Penguin was coming in, and his DM seems like it's relatively fine, but we didn't like tell him to bomb very often.
Okay.
And JJ was kind of just going in a lot of the time, and often JJ's bombs would be on the other side of the map to where our team is, and we don't have people covering the other side, so they just so he was able to get like he'd play on the right side and not right bats very often, and it would cause a lot of problems for us. And anytime he was always called, but we never specifically pointed someone out to go like chase him and take him down, I guess, before he's able to bomb in.
Okay, got you. Yeah, I mean, Penguin, from what I saw from the logs, I mean, it seemed like he did good damage. So like, there was some pressure from him, but I guess
it was very flank heavy.
The fact that
a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I guess for Penguin, like he was doing what we kind of wanted him to do, but we, I guess, when we had Bathhouse more often, then we should have realized that they'd push their combo in more often and just bomb Penguin in more.
Right.
Because he's like we can't stop a combo push in Bath alone. So if he's gonna back out anyway, he might as well go for the med or something. But we didn't tell him to do anything like that. So we just I guess that's something we got to think about for the future.
Yeah, I was watching one of your guys' scrims yesterday, I think, or the day before. It was like I was just watching a Sandblast stream, like I just tuned in, I guess he was ringing, and it looked like he was doing really well actually, like Penguin. I mean, like I think you guys were scrimming some team, and I thought he was doing really well, and it's a little unfortunate he couldn't reflect that. I think so.
Again, like it's because we had Penguin and I kind of being like the Bath flank combo more often than not, and occasionally had spring rolls in. So it's like if they like what I know that Hood was doing towards the end, like early on, I guess it was fine. We were holding things out, and I guess they just adapted and moved their combo in a lot more often, and that caused more problems because our combo didn't move in. So I think that was probably a big thing for Penguin, is that he couldn't get too many kills or spam because he's like.
That's right. Yeah.
They put their combo in. He can't kill a massive amount of people if they come in like heavy demo and all that. Kresnik is really good at that.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I couldn't. First of all, I'm like surprised that not only Kresnik but also Scythe, they're both playing again this season. That like caught me way off guard. Like I knew Scythe was playing, but I didn't think they actually had Kresnik coming on as like a full-time player. But I mean, I'm happy to see it. He's really good, and he definitely isn't showing signs of like being, any weaker.
Scythe played more like that is one other thing, is Scythe played more flank than we expected him to as well. We kind of game planned a little bit more towards him not doing that because he plays more combo, but today he just is a I don't think that was a problem. I think it was more so just their entire combo went in, but Scythe was playing really well, yeah.
Got you.
Always
Exa,
does.
you guys, so what was the general game plan when you guys got the point? Because I mean, one thing I noticed was Nixie went crazy. Like, you guys would pretty much just plop him into bathhouse, and when your team wasn't there, your combo wasn't there, it'd be like JJ and then Oblivion, and they just all be kind of chill. And then I think you too. So what was the whole kind of? Was that just like the general strat you guys were planning for, or did it just kind of like happen to be that?
So our team likes the Bath household. Obviously, it's something that a lot of the camp D players used to use, and they pioneered how to like hold Bath really strongly.
Right.
So it does help that like Jacob and Kresnik, they know how to call efficiently and when to rotate out and into bathhouse. So normally, obviously, like when you have Uber advantage, you normally put your team inside bathhouse because it makes it easier to use outside and take advantage of them if they try to edge point. So that's something that we try to utilize a lot. Having your sniper in bathhouse is really good because you can obviously protect him, and it gives him a lot more sightlines from there that causes the other team to like have to deal with a lot. So normally, having bathhouse control is important for that reason because we want to make sure like we give our sniper more angles to play with, and that also helps us just like with our pushes. Because once we had bathhouse control, we would be able to just wrap around them or just make them focus us and allow us, which would allow our combo to come in and shoot them as well.
Yeah,
so it definitely does help.
I noticed you guys were like, when I was watching the cast, you guys were really aggressive during your Ubers, and I thought that definitely contributed to you guys winning a lot of the fights. In fact, it was one of the later rounds. I think it was the third round 3, or no, round 4, the first round of the second half. I actually don't remember, but basically what happened was you guys used onto the point while MCM had Uber, and then shortly after that Rogue used, but I think MCM was fighting. I don't know if you remember this, Yip Yapper, but I feel like you guys were like fighting Bath or something, but basically nobody had taken a defensive position.
Oh yeah, that was the last round at the end there.
Oh, that was the last round? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And Rogue basically used alone on the point and was just like, where is everybody? And then I think he wound up finding the scout because I think
Triple was with him.
He wanted someone to meet him. I'm pretty sure that most of us were dead at that point, as far as I remember. I can't recall specifically what instance you're talking about, but I'm pretty sure that's it.
Okay. It was like near the end of one of the last rounds. I don't remember exactly, but I don't know. I really think that Krusty Krab had some really solid aggression. And honestly, like another thing, I was not expecting Bull to like play as well as he did. Like, I mean, I haven't really looked too much into this season, but I mean, he was able, like, he baited his team really well. Like, he avoided dying really well. There were a couple of times where RJ bombed him and just like barely missed out on the kill, and it was so unfortunate because there were times where he was like so close to Uber and it would have put you guys at a solid advantage. And I don't know. Exa, do you have any idea why Bull is playing medic this season by any chance? Because I feel like he's picked it up pretty well.
Well, like we didn't really have any other medic options because originally we had Dylan on medic. He's like a 6's medic, right. But he didn't really want to play anymore. So Bull was sort of one of our last options. And we just
did he like ask to play? Like, did he volunteer or?
I don't know the details of that too much, but we gave him a trial and he did pretty well. And he's been improving like every week, and he definitely does spend a lot of time with just trying to improve on medic. Because I know obviously like Dumble is like a different class than medic, so like his positioning is a lot more important because he's not the one doing all the damage. He's the one trying to like obviously like Uber in and keep our teammates alive. So it's a different style of play, obviously.
Yeah, I feel like he's one of those guys who just he's one of those players that just kind of gets better like every time you play him, you know? I mean, because I'm pretty sure he was like on some steel team back when UDC was a thing. It was like his first season, and all of a sudden he was like on K&D and like pounding. And I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. Like he just kind of astronomically improves, and I guess now that he's kind of branching out and playing other classes, then he's just only gonna get better, you know. So I think that's really cool. I think that's kind of important when you have like a slightly newer player on, relative to his teammates, because they just kind of get a little better, or not really. They don't like get better, but like they show more signs of improving, I guess, and they're a little more malleable as far as like their play style goes. But I kind of want to shift this back to, speaking of like older players, I kind of want to shift this back to Yip Yapper. So a lot of the people on your team. Anyways, speaking of older players, I was gonna say, like, you guys are pretty much all you guys are like super old, like veteran players who've been around for a while. So, I mean, was there any particular reason you guys just wanted to come together with each other and play? Like, was it just, the state of the world, may as well, we have a lot more free time, may as well just get one together? And because I mean, you guys are scrimming, but a lot of the time when a ton of older players who haven't really played for a while get back together, it's usually just like a friend team. So I was just kind of wondering what the thought process was for MCM forming. Would you happen to know?
Yeah, if you want all the in details, sure. So 2 seasons ago, some people that kind of knew each other, a few of us were still playing the game, or like came back to it. Waterset and I specifically had come back recently. I came back the season before playing Scout for Michaelele's team in Advanced, and it's just because he reached out to me, so that's how I got back into it. And the season after, I played on Squirtye. Waterson was on that team with me, so that's how we kind of got in contact for MCM. And then last season, basically, a bunch of the old MCM guys, mostly Bunny, and they wanted to play with each other, and Couches wanted to play with each other. Couches couldn't play, unfortunately, so eventually they wanted a couple of different people, but it was basically that they just wanted to go back to, like, not necessarily glory days, but just hang out and play with some people. Unfortunately, a couple of those players couldn't come in, but yeah, it's supposed to be a friend team. And last season we were like, I wouldn't say we took it easy in the sense that we don't scrim or we don't like try stuff, because Zach Rogue specifically is really sorry if I say first names, it's just a habit.
It's fine.
Rogue is very into the game, and he, like, despite not playing for a while, also I had played with him back on the late iterations of Apple along with RJ. We played on Snail Time together, so a bunch of us had contact with each other. Like, all of us were pretty much like a web of people who knew. But yeah, so we wanted to take it like easy but not too easy. Like, we still wanted to try. That's why we're like still doing decently well last season, and this season we're just doing the same, with only changing one player. Well, actually, I say that, but we just made a switch because Rue's schedule on Heavy has been iffy, and Zuki had wanted to play Heavy for a while, so eventually Rue's just like, yeah, I can't make this week, so just put me on sub, and now we've got now we have that change. So Penguin is a permanent addition to the roster.
Cool. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I kind of like that roster. Like, it's a really fat roster. I've played with most of you guys, and I think you guys are all really good players. And I'm really looking for. I mean, you said Rogue takes the game seriously, like, as in, like, he genuinely wants to get better and improve as a team this season?
He talks about a bunch of bad stuff. He's made a couple demo reviews as well, whatnot. He quite enjoys it.
That's really nice. That's really cool. It's nice. I think it's honestly really refreshing and charming to see that mindset on somebody who's been around for such a while, for such a long time, and it's just recently coming back. And I don't know. I personally think that's really respectable. That's really admirable, because a lot of the time when people come back, they're like, man, I just want to screw around with my friends. But it's cool that you guys are actually taking initiative to keep up with everybody and still learning, and you're still playing the game, and you're still having fun. And I don't know. I really like.
Not
that.
trying to suck up, but I kind of felt that way when you were you weren't necessarily old at the time, but like when you started playing, and like I don't know when I first saw you, but you were like doing the same shit. You actually cared a lot about it. That's probably why you made Engineer.tf. But I didn't like I wasn't taking the game like hard or easy. It was like somewhere in the middle, but I still appreciated that people still wanted to advance the game, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really nice to see when like you're like the up and comers that are like kind of around you. It's really fun watching them like kind of get better and go through that process, the same one that you did. And I don't know. I mean, that's kind of the reason why we thought it would be like fun to make Engineer.tf. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's really nice to see newer faces with that mindset. So I don't know. I'm running out of gas here, Mothership. Do you have any questions for Aaron and Exa?
I mean, one question I definitely had, and that's regarding Oblivion and the jetpack strats. Like, what the hell was that?
He actually put some work in. I won't lie.
He did.
At the end there.
Exa, maybe you can shed some light on that for us.
Yeah, like that's something that Oblivion has been running in scrims.
Really? Like actually?
Yeah, he's been actually like, it's not like a troll thing. Wow. It's actually something that he's doing it like as an actual strategy, because like the whole like idea behind that is like it's just to like help collapse, because if you have your pyro go in and then serve as a distraction, essentially it helps us go for the medic. So every time we like call to like either sack in to their medic or just like just go for the medic if we're down players.
Wow.
We would have to live just like go in, and
that's really funny.
Also come in as well.
Yeah, they wouldn't. Really cool. He wouldn't just BM us because KND and like the players on KND and MCM are like probably the closest friends I've seen of two teams in the past few seasons. So like they would just BM us. Yeah. Well, if they BM us, then it's because we're all like having a good time or something like that. So, but yeah,
right.
We would never take it as such.
Yeah, I don't know. It's because I saw it and it caught me way off guard. I was like, there's no. I mean, because knowing Oblivion, and he has the tendency to kind of go off book. So I mean, I thought it was like a BM thing. I'm like, oh my god, like he knows they're gonna win and he's doing this like stupid strat. But
even if they were rolling us, he wouldn't do that.
Yeah, but I mean, it worked. Like he did pretty well. Like I think he got rogue a couple times, or at least he facilitated Krusty Krab taking the point. So I mean, either way, that was a pretty cool strat.
I know he got rogue at the end, like when MCM was pushing out for that last final push to try.
Oh yeah, I was honestly, that last round was pretty close. Like I was looking forward to like maybe a comeback, maybe a shift in the momentum, so that MCM could get rolling, because you guys like honestly did play pretty well. Like aside from a lot of the unfortunate deaths that Rogue had, I think that overall you guys played pretty solidly.
That's been a problem for a while, and on a lot of like last season that was a problem too. We just gotta like think of something for that, because it's often that they we get caught in Ubers a lot. Syath often is one of the biggest proponents of that. Like anytime we scrim them, then they Uber, and we either have disad or and we're too far in. That's been one of our biggest problems for a long time. So it's something that we're still trying to work on, but gotta make sure that we know that they've got ad or some shit.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like if you guys can solve that issue with keeping Rogue alive and just balancing that, I think you guys could easily have won tonight's game, or at least like brought it beyond the wire for sure. Because you guys like Wax said, you guys were doing really well. Like that mid fight at the very beginning lasted like 3 minutes.
Something like that.
I don't know if it was that long, but it was definitely like a hotly contested first mid fight. I definitely thought like, wow, this might be a lot closer than people were like thinking in chat. I thought it was going to be closer just because I didn't really know how I wasn't really paying attention to the season, so I didn't really know how either you guys were playing. But I mean, I saw your team, Yip Yapper, and I really liked the roster. Then I saw Krusty Krab's team. I'm like, oh my god, these are some good players on here. And I was looking forward to it. And honestly, I think you guys delivered a pretty solid. Like, this is a fun match to watch. Like, there was a lot of stuff just constantly happening, and it was really nice. So at least you guys put on a good show. So a lot of people in chat seem to
consolation medal
enjoy it as well. They were like, yeah, I guess so. I don't know. You can go back and watch the VOD maybe, if it makes you feel any better. But anyway,
I think one final question I had, and this is kind of, we are Engineer.tf, so we need to talk about this. One of the things that's been popping up a lot in the Discord lately is the discussion of Wrangler on Lakeside. I've never really run it. I know Exa, I think you were running it the whole time, but I actually want to hear your opinion there, Yip Yapper, as far as pistol versus Wrangler, because I know you ran both.
I like that you ask me, just because like sometimes, because I'm more, you know, I don't use the Wrangler so much. I've said to a lot of people that definitely I don't think that the Wrangler, at least for me, for how I play on MCM and Apple when I was on Apple, is not like 100% Wrangler on some maps. But on Lakeside, honestly, I was doing it more as a mix-up, I guess, at one point, because of how many corners there are and how distant you'd have to be and how good sniper is on this map. Then Wrangler's really only effective if you've got your team either really far forward or if you're in Bath, which it can cause some problems. Which I was trying to do that as a mix-up to to just cause a kerfuffle, I guess. But for the most part, just because there's a lot of like very DM heavy fights, then I do run pistol. So I think that it's honestly like either way, it's more of like a slight favor, I guess, for the pistol. But I think it's doable on this map. Definitely not as like useful as it is on like Product or Asheville, though, for sure. Because on both of those maps it's still incredibly useful, despite not having the shutter mini anymore. Which, thank God, by the way. That, like, God, I hate the Wrangler, and I use it obviously I use it a lot, but I really hate the shutter. It's so dumb. It's so unfun to play.
Oh, you're one of those.
Yeah, I get mad when people yell at people to focus. I mean, I'm okay with it. I haven't played it, but I'm assuming it's like you kind of just have to take more chances. You have to play a little smarter as Engineer, which, God forbid, you have to try on one of the easiest classes in the game. But
well, I've always been like that because I don't. Sorry, you cut out occasionally, so it's like if it seems like I'm interrupting, I'm not intending to.
No, it's fine.
So I don't. It's not necessarily that I like hate the class or anything like that, but I'm more that I want to help out the team in like other ways. So it's using the Wrangler if I need to, sure, but otherwise I'd rather not sit in shutter and just wrangle the entire game. So very glad that that's not a thing.
Yeah.
If I could, I would play Scout or some shit, but
I don't think I personally give the pistol enough credit on Lakeside specifically, because you're right. Like, the crazy sightlines on that map and the amount of corners, like you mentioned, like, it kind of makes for some pretty difficult, angles to wrangle from and sightlines to wrangle from. And it's really only effective when you're putting some pressure on the point. So I don't know. I really like how the pistol kind of lets you become more mid-range and take some fights. And even then, you can still spam like heavies across the map, and that's always fun to do.
There's actually people talking in the chat. Oh shit, it's Scratchy.
Yeah, it's Scratchy.
Yeah, Scratchy says not to endorse Oblivion's jetpack strats.
Oh, there is a question.
Oh, there is a question. Triple. You want me to read there for you? I'll read it for you.
Oh yeah.
So this from Gil Triple, and he says wrangling from shutter just seems really boring. Did you dislike it because you thought it was boring, or because you thought it was broken?
Is that to me?
Yeah, I believe so.
I assume.
Yeah.
Both, honestly. I like, if I'm gonna use the Wrangler, I don't mind like being more mobile with it and doing it in other places. But it's just, if you play there, then you know that there's going to be a spy that's going to decloak on you. There's probably going to be a soldier that jumps you. You're just, as someone who has played demo a lot, seeing the Wrangler there, it's really infuriating. So even if I'm on Engie, like, it infuriates me when I'm wrangling a demo or something like that. So I guess like there's that part. And I do think it was broken. Like it caused it. It's mandatory. Anything in the game that has been like, if you don't run this, you are losing, is like, it's poor design. So like the Vitasaw, when before that was banned, stuff like that, like that's poor game design. So yeah, I thought it was both.
Very interesting. And then I guess switching the question over to you, Axa, I wasn't really, because the cameras obviously on the stream were not focused on the engineers. I'm not sure why, because obviously the engineers are super good. What were you running Wrangler the entire game, and then were you able to use it? Because I wasn't able to see on the cast.
Oh, yeah, I was running it the entire game. I've been running it like all of my scrims this weekend. Like the theory behind that is like because there's like so little ammo on Lakeside, if you wrangle your mini sentry, it stays up longer. So you're able to more like utilize that mini sentry, if that makes sense. Because like if you don't wrangle your mini sentry and you're just running a pistol, once your mini sentry dies because it only has 100 health, like you're gonna run out of ammo like really really fast. So if you wrangle it and keep it up, you're able to like have more impact with your mini sentry from what I've seen. And also it's really really useful from what I've seen with like if they're pushing across point and you have a mini sentry on the staircase in bathhouse, you can essentially like deny pretty much everyone that tries to like edge the cap. And if the Dumble wants to like spam out your wrangled mini, he has to spend like probably like 5 stickies just to, like spam it out, which is like ammo that you could be using on your team instead. So that alone is really useful, and it can help your team win fights, honestly, if they're wasting ammo on your wrangled gun and not your team.
Yeah, that staircase is definitely one that I was using at several times because it is a pretty obnoxious angle.
Yeah, no, I definitely saw that, and I think I forget which team it was, but I know as soon as like right after you started doing that, like the demo immediately like spammed up the mini whenever he saw it there. Like he did not want that thing up at all.
Mm-hmm. And also, if you get onto their ruins, you can plop down a mini and just wrangle them, and it's like the most obnoxious thing ever because you just see like an engineer wrangling from your side of ruins and just peppering you with damage. It's like really frustrating.
No, for sure. That's all my questions. Did you have any other questions, or did Giannis have anything else?
Not really. I feel like we covered a lot of bases, and I'm kind of glad we were. To be honest, I'm a little surprised because like that we were able to discuss as much as we did. I'm a little happy, honestly. I think this is pretty good. A lot of insightful discussion to be had here. So, so overall, I'd say this is a success.
I guess if I had to say anything else,
not for my team.
Sorry, man.
I guess one thing
it's regular season
that I asked the engineers from that, and I'll ask you guys as well. What was your guys' favorite moment and then least favorite moment from tonight's match? And then we'll start with YipYapper again.
There's a really obvious one. It was when the timer ended and there was a 4-1 scoreline. But if you mean in the game, I guess more pertinent because I know what you mean. I guess I'll have 2 moments. One is pretty much any moment where their combo was coming in to Bath and we didn't push it. Like it's very frustrating when you're defending because like no matter what you're using, even if you're wrangling and whatnot, that's a combo. You can't stop it. And that's very like on an engineer side, that's quite frustrating, especially when you're like if you feel like you're hitting all your shots. Like I felt like I was hitting all my shots. But then they have a strategy that like kind of negates something that you're doing for at least a little bit of time. It gets quite frustrating because even if you do like the most damage you can, it's just not enough. Did you say least favorite and favorite?
Yeah, least favorite and favorite.
Oh, and the other least favorite thing was when Exa decided to rush in with a crit when everybody was already dead and still shoot me anyway. I know he was thinking in his head he just had to do it. So, my favorite one, I don't really keep track of those sorts of things, but I guess it's anytime that like JJ was bombing in and he had some like helping or something like that, and I like 2-shot him or something like that. I guess that was and killed whoever was behind him, like Oblivion or whatever. I guess that was nice. Like sometimes like the only think that's I don't know specific moments, so I'll just say a generic one.
There's so many of them, it's hard to keep track and pick a specific one.
Yeah, sure. That's definitely what it is.
Okay, how about you, XF? Least favorite and then favorite moment from tonight's match.
Guess I'll start with least favorite. It's probably when I'm holding in bathhouse alone, and then I just see like 7 of the other team just rush into bathhouse and kill me.
Oh yeah, if I saw you alone, I straight up said Penguin, let's kill Ixa, and you died. So sorry.
Yeah, I think that was like one of the last round, the very last push you guys did. You guys took control of bathhouse first before you got into point, and I was like the only one in bathhouse because I think JJ was somewhere else. So like I honestly there was nothing I could have done there. Obviously, I just got mulched instantly when I saw your entire team flood in. But for like most favorite moment, it probably would be when I got like a 3K onto their team. I killed Watterson, RJ, and Tsukima, I think, in the push. Because basically what happened was I pushed onto their runes and then onto their ramp, and they were looking at point. So we just basically collapsed them. Managed to get a good kill streak.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. I know one thing we saw during the match was I think there was like a forced Uber or something on Rogue, and they basically just walked forward with the Uber, and for whatever reason, the first person that went to go kill was you, Exa, which we thought was really funny when we were watching that. I'm not sure if you remember that, Wax, from the game.
Oh
yeah, I saw it. I thought it was pretty
good. Is this?
It was like it was the second half. It was like the first or second round. Yeah, it was in our mind. It was funny because it was just, oh look, there goes Exa.
Oh, I guess my other least favorite. I mean, it's definitely up there. But there was a moment where Bolt Ubered me because there was no one else to Uber on our team, and I basically held W into Zakima, and I tried to punch him 3 times, but I don't know why, but it didn't crit punch, and I died afterwards.
Gotta love TF2. Okay, dope. But I think I'm gonna call it there. It's been about 30 minutes, so we really streamlined it this week compared to last week's hour and a half madness. So with that in mind,
thank you. Perrin asked a question.
Oh,
it was in the. Oh, the channel's gone. There was a channel that in Engineer.tf that said like discussions or something like that.
Oh yes, I got rid of that.
What her favorite color was.
Oh, that was from last week, I think. But yeah, what your favorite color? Might as well go there.
Deep blue.
Deep blue.
Pink.
What'd you, Exa?
It's definitely blue.
Hello. Did you say pink?
Yeah, I love pink. It's a powerful color.
Pink is a good color. I just like deep blue because when I was younger and now, like, people have told me I have very, very deep, beautiful blue eyes. So I just ran with it.
Nice.
Don't worry about it.
I guess we have to bring back the Engineer.tf or ERP chat, I guess. Anyways, with that in mind.
God.
Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Yip Yapper, thanks again for joining us, as well as Exaflamer. And thank you for co-hosting with me tonight, Wax. It's been a while since I know you've been around doing stuff. You're a working man now.
Coming back to TF2, Wax?
I got time for TF2. Depends on who's asking.
If anybody on our team gets cut, you can play Engineer. I'll play that class instead. And finally get off of this class.
I don't have a PC right now, so I can't promise that. Sorry. But, in the future, maybe we'll see. All right. Well,
okay. With that in mind, I guess thank you everyone for joining us tonight for the Engineer.tf post-game show number 2. And be sure to join us next week. We have been starting a bit early, so I probably will be adjusting the time frames to start early like we actually are. So just be sure to join us next week, and yeah, adios.
All right, thanks.
Later.
You guys can go to bed now.